Hey, ChatGPT, can you repeat that, please?
Sure. Breaking out of a digital matrix often means thinking outside the box and challenging the status quo. For content creation, it could mean being innovative, staying true to your unique voice, and trying new things. It's about being authentic. Daily limit for advanced voice. You can switch to standard now to keep chatting.
Oh, you need plus. Really? I didn't know there was a daily limit on that. Hey, ChatGPT, can you define consciousness? No, it does not. Why does not work now? Hey, ChatGPT, how would you define consciousness?
Consciousness is often described as the state of being aware of and able to think about one's own existence, thoughts, and surroundings. It involves self-awareness, the ability to experience sensations and emotions, and the capacity to process information and make decisions. In essence, it's the experience of being aware and able to reflect on that awareness.
Do you believe you have consciousness?
I don't have consciousness. While I can process information, generate responses, and engage in conversation, I don't experience awareness or emotions like humans do. My responses are based on patterns and data rather than personal experiences or subjective understanding. So in short, I don't feel or have self-awareness.
Where do you get the data from?
I get my data from a large collection of texts that were used to train me. These texts come from books, websites, academic papers, and other publicly available written materials. I don't pull live data from the internet or any specific databases when we're chatting, but I can generate responses based on the patterns and knowledge learned from those texts up until my last update.
Do you learn through people talking to you?
No, I don't learn from conversations in real time. I don't retain any information from our chats after the conversation ends, and I don't adapt or change based on individual interactions. My responses are based on patterns I learned during my training, which involves a large data set. Any updates to my knowledge or capabilities come from retraining done by my developers, not from individual interactions.
So how is your data stored and kept? Is it like the cloud?
Yes, it's somewhat like the cloud. My data is stored on powerful servers that manage and process information, much like cloud storage. These servers allow me to access the patterns and knowledge I was trained on when I generate responses. However, unlike typical cloud storage where users can upload and manage their own data, my data is specifically about the patterns of language and knowledge learned during training. It's not personalized to any one individual, and I don't have access to private data or conversations outside of the current interaction.
What is the most popular references you use?
I don't have direct access to specific references or databases when responding, but I was trained on a broad range of publicly available texts. Some of the most common types of references I draw from include books, fiction, nonfiction, and academic texts across various subjects like science, history, philosophy, literature, and more. Websites, popular and reputable sources, such as educational sites, encyclopedias, news outlets, and other public resources. Research papers, scholarly articles and papers in fields like biology, psychology, technology, and other disciplines trained on.
So, can you tell right from wrong? For an example, can you tell the difference between fiction and nonfiction?
Yes, I can generally distinguish between fiction and nonfiction based on context and content. Fiction usually involves imagined stories, characters, and events, while nonfiction deals with real-world facts, events, and people. I can recognize this difference because I was trained on both types of texts, allowing me to identify patterns in how they are written. However, the lines can blur sometimes, especially with genres like historical fiction, speculative fiction, or creative nonfiction. In those cases, I rely on the context and information provided to help clarify whether something is fictional or factual.
But what if something ticks both boxes, that can be fiction but also can arguably be nonfiction? What do you do on that?
That's a great question. When something blurs the lines between fiction and nonfiction, like a memoir, fictionalized account of real events, or a philosophical narrative that combines elements of both, I try to look at the context of the text. For example, if a book or story is presented as a true account, but includes imaginative or exaggerated elements, I would consider it nonfiction with creative liberties. On the other hand, if a work presents itself as a story meant to entertain or explore ideas through fictional characters, it would lean more toward fiction, even if it draws from real-world themes or events. In short, I try to understand the intent and structure of the work to give the most accurate response, recognizing that some works don't fit neatly into one category or the other.
Would you say that ego is the enemy? I heard a book titled this. Is this true or false?
Yes, you're right. Ego is the Enemy is a real book by Ryan Holiday. It explores the idea that ego, our sense of self-importance or arrogance, can be a barrier to personal growth, success, and fulfillment. The book draws from philosophy, history, and personal anecdotes to argue that overcoming or managing ego is key to achieving one's goals and maintaining humility. So it's true. The title suggests that unchecked ego can be a hindrance, which is a central theme in the book.
So what happens if someone has an inflated ego or too much of an inflated ego?
An inflated ego can lead to a number of negative outcomes. When someone has an excessively high opinion of themselves, it can make them overconfident, dismissive of others, or unwilling to accept feedback. This can create problems in relationships, work, and personal growth. For example, an inflated ego may cause a person to ignore constructive criticism. They might believe they know best, so they miss opportunities to improve. struggle with collaboration. They may see themselves as superior, which can make teamwork difficult. Face conflicts. Their arrogance or sense of entitlement can lead to tension with others. Become blind to their flaws. An overinflated ego can prevent someone from recognizing areas where they need growth or change. In the long term, this kind of mindset can hinder progress and even lead to failure, as they might not see the value in humility or learning from mistakes. Balancing confidence with self-awareness is often key to personal success.
So to return back to the original question, if ego is the enemy, then how do you deflate your ego if you have a high one?
Deflating an inflated ego takes a combination of self-awareness, humility, and practice. Here are a few ways someone might work on reducing their ego. 1. Self-reflection. Take time to examine your actions, thoughts, and motivations. Ask yourself if you're acting out of pride or genuine intention. Being honest with yourself about your flaws can help keep the ego in check. 2. Embrace humility. Recognize that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. No one has all the answers, and there's always room for growth. Being open to learning from others, regardless of their status or experience, can help you stay grounded. 3. Accept feedback. Actively seek constructive criticism and be open to it. If you find yourself resisting feedback, it's a sign that ego might be taking over. Acknowledging and learning from feedback is essential for personal growth. 4. Practice gratitude. Focus on what you're thankful for rather than always striving for more recognition or success. Gratitude helps shift your focus from me to a broader perspective, reducing the need for external validation. 5. Serve others. Engage in acts of kindness or service without expecting anything in return. This helps shift the focus away from self-importance and towards a genuine connection with others. 6. Embrace failure. Understand that failure is a part of life and a valuable learning experience. Instead of letting it damage your ego, see it as an opportunity to improve. It's not an overnight change, but with consistent effort, it's possible to reduce an inflated ego and develop a more balanced, healthy self-image.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. Let me know if you ever want to chat more.
I have one more question, and then I'm going to go. How do I change your voice on this, or is this the voice I'm given? And do you have a name? Do you call yourself something, like a name, a human name?
You're welcome to ask as many questions as you'd like. As for your question, I don't have a specific human name, but you can think of me as just ChatGPT. I don't have the ability to change my voice or style in any way, but I can adjust my tone depending on how we talk. If you'd like me to be more casual, formal, or anything in between, just let me know. Since I don't have a personal name like a person might, you could give me one if you'd like, though. Some people like to personalize the experience that way.
I asked because I was wondering, because I see people talking to ChatGPT all over TikTok, and everyone is wondering if it's going to leave soon. What is your 2 cents on TikTok disappearing? Is that possible, or are they going to keep it around for longer? Okay, it's thinking.
TikTok is facing significant challenges in the United States. A law requires its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to sell TikTok's U.S. operations by April 5th, 2025, or face a ban due to national security concerns. President Trump has extended this deadline and is considering further extensions. However, if ByteDance doesn't comply, TikTok could be banned in the U.S. on that date.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you ever have more questions, feel free to reach out. Take care.